Alright, we got a 2009 Ford Flex. I've already replaced the coil pack on the 4-cylinder and the spark plug. And we're still getting a misfire. We're getting a PO4, I'm not sure what it's called. I'll put it on the screen. It's a PO4 misfire code with the flashing check engine light. So, what we're going to do today, we're going to replace all the fuel injectors, and since we have to take off the intake plenum, we're going to replace all the spark plugs all the way around, because it's really hard to get to the back ones unless you remove this. So we got this kit on Amazon. This was about 60 bucks for all the injectors. We got all the spark plugs, and I would suggest, if you're going to do it, I think this was like 15 bucks. This is the intake gaskets. You're taking the intake off, you might as well put new gaskets on it. So yeah, let's get started. Make sure you're not on the microphone. Alright, first thing we're going to do, we're going to remove this intake. So you're going to loosen this bracket here. And there's a bracket here. Alright, we'll get that screwdriver out of the engine when it comes apart. Let me grab another one. Alright, we got these loose. Second thing you're going to do is you're going to come through here. This is a little tab. You're going to push this gray tab, and you should be able to wiggle that right off. Same thing right here. Push the gray tab, you can take that right off. Alright, so let's see. We've got this hose, which you should be able to just unplug. You can just move that right out of the way. Now we got the intake pipe is out of the way. So, next thing we're going to be doing is I'm going to douse all these bolts, these rusty bolts, on the intake with some penetrating oil, and then we'll start from there. Alright, so what you're going to do is this plenum has to come off. So you're going to see this wire here. So I'm going to leave this connected, I hope. But what we'll do is we'll unplug the carburetor. This yellow thing, I believe you push it in. Yep, and you can pull that off there. Now this is free. This is on with a zip tie type thing. You get one of these tools, you can pop it right out of your way. Now this top hose here, you can actually disconnect if you want. I'll disconnect it from the overflow over here. There we go. Once you disconnect that, you can undo it from here. Just like that. Now we can just move this out of our way. Same thing with this. You should be able to just pop this wire. This one, somebody zip tied. That'll get the wire out of your way. seems like everything is disconnected except for these back hoses, which I think there's enough play. Once I get these bolts out, I can kind of turn it and get to the clamps better. So I'm going to start taking out the manifold bolts. They look to be about 8mm. Alright, so after you get these nice with the penetrating oil, you're going to want to put the bolt on it, or the socket. You're going to want to shock all these bolts. That one's really rusty. Go. Oh, we got a hidden one underneath here. I gotta get the what you call it tool. There. And one of there's a thing under here. Right there. There we go. There it is. And you can see the hidden bolt right there. Man, that harness is tight. That thing doesn't want to move for nothing. Alright, so just press pause. Alright, so once you get all these out, remember that hidden one. It's hiding in the corner here. Take this bolt out. It holds this bracket in place. Now your intake should be relatively free. So we got that far so far. It seems to me like this. There's something here. Oh. What's this? Okay. So you can see on the intake or the carburetor right there, there's a looks like maybe about 8mm tied to a bracket that's holding this side down. So I'm going to take that bracket bolt out and then see how loose it gets. There, you can pause that. Alright, so if you take that one bolt out, it loosens up the whole entire thing. So now all we got left to do to get to the fuel injectors is we're going to have to disconnect this hose here, and there's a hose here. I'm not sure if there's anything else connected. If there isn't, we should be able to just lift this up and out. Alright, so we're going to try, I'm going to try to douse this and this, and hopefully I can spin the metal bracket to where I can catch like a grip with the pliers here. Man, that sucks. Why would they put it there like that? There's like no room to get to it. See how it's spun? Now I should be able to grab it with a pair of pliers and open it. There we go. I should be able to just pull this off. There we go. All right, we're getting there now. Now,
yeah, there's still
let's
one
check
more.
out how to get this one off. I'm going to spin it the same way, unfortunately. But that does work. So if you got your little clamps here stuck, douse them. And then grab a screwdriver. It's kind of tricky, but it's doable. Should be able to get underneath it. And spin it. Put these back down in place here. There we go. Just spin that like that. There we go. Use this. All right, now you take this and pry it up. Boom. Now we can take our intake right on off of there. Beautiful. Now would be a good time to clean your intake. Clean your carburetor and whatnot. For me, what I'm going to do is what I said I was going to do. Wax your car for free, I guess. We're going to douse these and these. Now this one I already replaced. These coil packs are all good. We're just going to do the spark plugs for these. And then we'll pick up from there. Alright, so now you're going to go through, put this on each of the bolts you're going to take out. Give it a little shock. Thankfully, I can't hammer these, but they're not rusted. So the firewall is doing a good job keeping it clean back there. But these are rusty, so. What you're going to want to do is take one bolt out. There we go. You're going to want to get them both finger loose. What do I do with that pick that I just had? Oh, it's off. So what you're going to do, you're going to use like a flathead. I prefer to use a pick. There's a little plastic tab here. You're just going to bring it down like that. And then you're going to push down on this right here. And you should be able to unplug that with no issue, depending on your car. And if people have been working on it before, you can see this one is broken. So this one you can go from the top and possibly push it through like that, and then pull it through like this. You can see that one is broken, but now I should be able to push this down and wiggle this off. There you go. So now we're just take these off. Oh, that has new coil packs in the back. Or no, that's from my oil. Those ain't new. We'll take these out. Set them aside. And I think it's a 5/8. I think, I'm not sure. Yep, they're 5/8. Now these might be really tight, depending. Yeah, these are going to be in really tight because of the heat cycles. So you might have to get a breaker bar on it. So what I would suggest to you to do is to spray some penetrating oil down into the threads and let it sit. Turn it off for now. Alright, after you get it soaked, sitting for a while, Alright, you're going to need a telescopic magnet to get the socket out. Unless you have a actual socket for the spark plugs, because it has the rubber grommet that sticks onto the spark plug. I don't have that, so that's why I'm going to loosen it. And then we'll just pull it out with this. Just like that. As you can see, this needed to be replaced. Seen better days. Alright, I'm not going to show you how to replace all of them because it's the same process on each spark plug. Shut it off. Now when you put these back on and you start tightening them, keep your ratchet close. Don't use the handle. You just want to put it basically just tight enough. You don't want to snap these bolts, because then you'll end up being fixing, you know, drilling. Then you can plug these back in until they snap. It's kind of hard to do. Alright, so, you know, I did all the plugs here. And on the intake, I noticed, you see me trying to get this clamp off. Just leave this on. You should be able to just wiggle this right off. There's not one on the bottom. So that's supposed to just kind of pop on there. So I'm going to put that back on the intake, and then I'll probably put the intake down to make it a little easier. But if you took that off and you're doing step by step, sorry. Alright, so we got 1, 2, 3, and 4 bolts holding down the fuel rails. What we'll do is we'll crack them. You got to make sure you take this bolt out here so you can move this, so you can get to these bolts. And then this one has a little clamp here that you can move out of the way, and then you should be able to bend this just enough to get a socket on it. Don't bend it too much because you'll crack the joint here. Alright, once you got all 4 of those cracked, what we're going to do is figure out how to take the clamps off here. Now, this is going to be the kind of a pain in the butt here. What you're going to want to do is unplug all your injectors. Get the wires out of your way. Now each injector has a little clamp. So what I'm going to try to do is we're going to try to get a flathead on these clamps. And it looks like they slide to the side. So you're going to slide it to the side and then don't lose it. That's what the clip looks like.
Oh, yeah, I'm trying to get to it. There it is.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around and I'm going to take all these clamps off. You just slide them to the right, like that. They pop off. Just don't lose any of them. And then I'll show you what we do from there. I'm going to take, once you get all the clamps out, you can take the bolts out. And I wonder, can we do that? Let's see. If you take this off here, be very careful with it. Should be able to push this button in. And you can depressurize it. So there's no pressure in the lines. Should be a little easier to pry up with no pressure on it. Alright, so now you're going to go to right where the injectors are. And you're going to carefully work them up. Don't pry like crazy. You're just trying to get the rubber O-ring to pop up.
Yep, like that.
So you're going to want to kind of rock it with the pry bar and pull up at the same time on each one. And there you go. Now to get the fuel line out and out of the way, the clamp here, you can unlatch. This will free up the wire that's on it. Put the wire around it. Alright, so unfortunately I can't do much with this, so you're going to have to get one of these quick connect releasers and lose it like that. See how easy that was to lose? Awesome. And you'll be able to take the fuel right off. Now you can see all the O-rings stayed in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to take all them back out. Press pause. So this is the tool you're going to need to buy. You can get these at like AutoZone. They're for AC and fuel lines. So what you do is you slide it around the clamp and then you're going to push in as far as you can go and it'll release the clip. Then you can pull the fuel rail right out. So for this, all we're going to do is take a pick and you can pick out all the old O-rings. Don't reuse these unless you want a gas leak. The new ones come with it. As you can see on the new one side is blue, one side is brown. the brown side goes down. So for right now, we're going to take the injectors out now. So what I like to use is one of these. This works pretty good. You can sometimes we just wiggle them out, but most times you can't. So if you can, bring the electronic part over and pry up on the electronic and kind of just rock it out of place here. Oh man, them things are in there. I'm gonna spray these down actually. There you go.
Yep.
Yeah, she was due for injectors.
Pretty bad.
Wait a second. We might be going to AutoZone.
Oh my god.
We're going to take the old one off because it's red and not brown. And we're going to compare it to the new one. Shit. It's smaller. Alright, so I got them all out. As you can see, this rubber O-ring ended up staying in. So you're going to get what I'm using is just a tiny flathead. You're going to have to try and pry it out like that. Alright, so you're going to want to spray all these holes. And you can see I already started. You want to get the mating surface clean. You can use carb cleaner, which would work amazing, but I don't have it. You can use WD-40. And then what you're going to do is grab yourself a Q-tip. And you're going to clean this mating surface, this little, shine it in here so they can see the chrome. That chrome mating surface right there has got to be completely clean. So, I just use a Q-tip, works pretty good. Or you could blast it with some of this that, this ain't going to do shit.
I think it was another can.
There's a little spray here, I'll show you how good it works. And that's it. Carb spray would work the best. But if you ain't got carb spray, you can use WD-40. Alright, so the kit comes with these. They don't fit. And I didn't feel safe using these. A couple of them were ripped and crushed. You can buy this kit here on AutoZone, and this is made to replace. It comes with the new black ones and the new red ones. So there you go. So to put it back together, what we're going to do, we're going to hit all these holes with a little bit of WD-40. We're going to hit that, and you're going to put it, move back a little bit, man, I need room to live. you're gonna put it with the electronic facing away from the pipe, and you're just gonna work it back down until it feels seated. There we go. And then you give it a little tug. We're good. So the rear ones go this way. Basically, on the clip, you'll see there's a square part, like a flat part. That flat part lines up with the flat parts. So, like I said, to make it easier to go in, you don't want to put a lot of strain on it. Just throw a little bit of WD-40 on it. Should be able to just wiggle it right down into place there. And then put your clip on, which is kind of hard. You need, like, grab it with two hands. It's kind of a tricky thing to get started on there. Alright, so I figured out there's a secret to this that I just figured out, which is going to make your life a lot easier. Don't press them all the way in. If you look, there's a little slot right here. Turn the light on so they can see it. You can see there's a little slot. This fits into this slot. So what I was doing wrong was I was pushing it past that point. Like, watch, if you have it set up correctly at the right height, it should line right up and just clip on. So it's a lot easier. So you gotta pay attention to the height. You can go too deep, then you can't get the clip on. Alright, so now to install the new injectors, make sure those holes are clean the way I showed you. You're going to put some WD on it. And then you're going to spray some WD in all the holes. You don't want these things binding up and ripping. And now we're just going to put it under here. Make sure you get your wires out of the way. We're going to line these up. So you're going to kind of bend it into place so that all of them are almost seated. Just like that. You want these things, you see right there, you want these O-rings sitting right where they're supposed to be, right in that that valley there. And then we're going to put the bolts in and tighten it slowly.
Believe it or not, he's actually almost done. As long as it starts.
Well, I said I would replace the injectors. I didn't say anything about it still running.
Shut up.
Well, the spark plugs are all new. They all needed it.
Oh, they did?
Yeah. What we're gonna do is we're gonna hand tighten this just to put a little bit of pressure on each one of these, and then we're gonna check our injector placement and make sure none of them are cocked sideways or about to go in a way that we don't want. This is gonna hold.
You want pictures? You want some pictures?
All right. So you can see that one's looking pretty good. That one's pretty good. That one's pretty good. That one looks good. This one's kind of tough to see.
LEDs.
Ooh, that one's so hard to see. Okay, there we go. Yep, that's good. And that's good. This is why it's important to clean those holes really good, because you don't want any debris keeping these from seating. So now what we're going to do, we're just going to do a little bit here. We'll do a little bit here. A little bit here. A little bit here. And we're just going to keep working it down. Don't tighten this all the way down until you're got this thing nice and even. You don't want to tighten one side all the way. All right, that one's good. Good. This one's squeaky. All right, now we check, make sure everything got seated. Let's see. Looks good. Let's check this one. Looks good. Looks good. Can't really see that one. Huh. Oof. That one looks good. Good. This one I can't really get to. And good. No binding. So the fuel rail and new fuel injectors are installed. So here, take this, Brennan. Now we'll take the hook this back on here. I believe it went around this, right?
Like that.
Yep, we'll hook this on just like that. We'll plug in the fuel injectors. Oh, you shitting.
Break.
Let's see. Okay. Still clicks. These things are so damn brittle. So much. Now, as for the intake, I replaced these. These are brand new. These are like, I don't know, 15 bucks. They're pretty cheap. I wouldn't recommend reusing them. You're doing all this work to your car, and this is the bolt that holds the carburetor. You don't need to take the carburetor off. You're doing all this work to your car. Why not replace the gaskets? It's already apart. Okay. Now we can start putting this thing back together. We've got that is installed. That's all connected. This I will put back on. That went here like this, and then you should be able to move it. Oh, I'm gonna put this one was a pain in the butt. So we'll do is we'll just clamp this one back on. Ow. My nail.
Been there.
Alright. Now what we'll do is we'll stick this down in here and plug it in first. Like that. And now we should be able to line all this back up pretty nicely. Make sure you're not crushing any wires. Make sure the wires that need to be free are free. It kind of fits right into place nicely. As you can see, this hose just went right back in the way it was supposed to, so that's really nice. Now, if you didn't notice before, this really long bolt goes into the top one. That one's not trying to. Don't forget your hidden bolt right in this corner with this wire. Start them all by hand first. This is a plastic intake, so don't go crazy. This is not an aluminum intake. All you're wanting to do is squish the rubber. Now, there's no exact torque spec that I know of. It's kind of like if you've ever done the Trailblazer or the Vortec intake. You could get crazy with inch pounds if you want, or you can just use your brain and tighten it till you feel the plastic hit the aluminum, which is the route I'm going. Well, make sure you start all these by hand. You don't want to cross thread this thing. That would not make your day fun, trust me. Alright. The way I like to do this is don't grab your ratchet like you normally do. Grab it up here and just use your wrist. You feel that? Give a little squeeze on there. We'll try to do like a cross hatch pattern. Just while you're tightening, just remember, all you're trying to do is crush those rubber. So now just come back and just give it a little tweak, like that. Nothing crazy. You don't want to crack this intake. I don't remember if I did this one or not. That's it. Once you get to this point, you're going to put your bolt back in to the carburetor on the bottom.
Go around.
And for those of you watching, yes, I did get the screwdriver out of the engine. It's not sitting on the engine anymore. Just hanging there. Snug that down. Make sure you plug your carburetor back in if you want to drive. Now we got the fun part here. Now we got to get this pain in the butt hose back on. All right, press pause. You record.
I did.
Oh. All right, so make sure you get this tucked down in here and plugged back in. It just pops right back on. It's got the little clamp right here. You push this in like that. All right, and don't forget to take your overflow and put it back in the little channels here and reconnect it to the overflow tank and put the two clamps back on. This is connected. Oh, we got this screw. Don't forget this screw. Come over here. We got the screw that holds the fuel line steady. So make sure you put that back in so your fuel line ain't all jiggling all over the place here. I believe that was supposed to go. Now, I'll do what I did, because this little wire goes into there. Now we can put the fuel line back on, put the safety back in. Just watch your eyes if you do what I did. You don't want gas flying into your face. None got on the camera, right?
No.
I'll tighten that down. We'll snap this in place. Now this goes here. Alright, so we got all injectors. Everything looks good. We're good. Good. We've got everything hooked back up. So the only thing left is we'll put this back on here, which goes
Which way?
like this. I'll stick that on there. Stick your sensor or whatever this is. Make sure you stick that back in. This one we're going to clamp down. This one we're going to clamp down. Well, if you're having trouble pushing it in, just move this out of the way. And then you'll be able to get it. Alright. Double check everything. Everything's looking good. Back to factory. So the only thing left to do is fire her up. Brennan.
Ah. Okay.
This thing's gonna smoke. As soon as it started like that, I was like, oh, wait a minute. So, you guys are recording?
Yeah.
Make sure if you're in the garage, when you start this thing, it's gonna smoke a lot from all the cleaners, the WD-40. So, it might take a few tries to get it to start. If you don't like the cleaners, so now, like I said, you're gonna get a lot of smoke from all the cleaning that you did. What I'm gonna do now, we're gonna check for leaks. We're looking good. Looking good. And that's pretty much it. If you don't have a code clearing tool, you're gonna have to drive it for a little while. It'll figure out that the fuel injector is working. It'll clear itself up. If you do have a code clearing tool, clear the code, and your misfire, whatever cylinder it was, the PO2 code, should be gone.